Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a crime film from Denmark, Danish language English subs, released in the year 2017, directed by Hans-Peter Molen, and this film is called A Conspiracy of Faith. So A Conspiracy of Faith is the third installment of the Department Q series. Now Department Q is a department that specialises in cold cases. Now in this particular case there's a message in a bottle that has been written 8 years previous that finally washes ashore and it makes its way to Department Q. Now the Detective Carl Mork in charge of this department, along with his assistant Assad, have to piece together who wrote this message, because it appears that whoever wrote it were actually in a lot of trouble. So their investigation makes them believe that they were actually children who wrote this message, and these children are connected to a religious sect. Now this religious sect have actually had a lot of children that have gone missing, and strangely their parents haven't reported this. So the detectives have to find out why. And when they piece together what's going on and they dig further investigation, they realise that there is a serial killer on the loose that has been terrorising this religious sect for reasons that are connected to his own troubled past. And so to their horror, the detectives' horror and the community's horror, 2 more children have been recently abducted, and they're going to suffer the same fate unless the detectives can actually find out who this person is and stop him before he acts on his urges again. So whether or not they can is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on A Conspiracy of Faith. This is yet another fantastic entry in what is a fantastic series. Now Department Q is just something that you actually have to watch. If you are a fan of crime film, then I believe that no one does it better than Scandinavia. Now when it comes to Scandinavian film in general, you guys all know that I love this area of the world. And so Scandinavian crime noir is something I'm relatively new to. And I've just recently started reading the books that these films are based on, and the books are even better. So in this Department Q series, I believe that this is the best book to film adaptation. And this is the best series because it actually gets to the actual basis of what makes Carl Mork tick as a person. And so Jussi Olsen is the author of these books, and he creates a detective that is so much more than just a bulletproof guy who solves the crimes and everyone looks up to. This is a guy who is very troubled. This is almost like an anti-hero. And this is something that is evident not only in Jussi Olsen's stories, but you've got Joe Nesbo, who created the detective of Harry Hule, who is a guy who is an alcoholic, and he's also addicted to a lot of other things that make him a less desirable person. You've also got William Wistig, who is a character from Jorn Lee Horst, and you've also got Una Lina, who is a character of Lars Kepler. And so all of these authors create these detectives who are so much more than just, people who you believe that you can rely on. These are people who are everyday people, who are assigned with the tough task of actually trying to solve a case. And these cases have a devastating effect on these people. And so this is why I believe that Scandinavian do it better than anyone else, is because you've got so much more than just a standard murder mystery. Yes, the murder mystery is the driving force, but you've also got side elements that create something that's so much more. So you never feel bored with the film, or the film or the books, because you always feel that it's going in different directions and you don't know exactly where it's taking you. And I believe that Department Q is definitely the best book-to-movie adaptation. You've got The Snowman, which was recently made by Thomas Alfredson, that I thought wasn't very good. It wasn't as bad as a lot of people say, but it was a very confusing film because I thought it was a little bit too theatrical. It's trying a little bit too much. And these books are very complicated, but I believe that Department Q is done better than anyone else. And so if The Snowman was ever going to be remade, I would have loved it to be remade by these directors, whether it's Mikael Norgard or Hans-Peter Molen. Now Hans-Peter Molen, the director of this film, he directed other Norwegian movies such as An Order of Disappearance, A Somewhat Gentle Man. This is a very good director, and he shows why he is a great director, because he can actually get Jussi Olsen's vision and put it onto screen in a very, very fascinating way. So this movie is about Carl Mork. It's about a guy who is very troubled. He has a history that is really dictating how he acts in today. And so you've got Assad, his assistant, who Assad is trying to give him renewed hope that life is not all bad. And so in this movie especially, this is a movie about faith. It's a movie about believing in God. Carl Mork doesn't believe in anything, but Assad believes in a lot. And so the luck they get in this case, you're constantly asking, is there such thing as coincidences, or is this a sign of faith? And so it's a movie that does depict religion. It's a movie that is about a religious sect, and it does show you the ramifications of religion, the negative effect of religion, and relying on God a little bit too much, but it also shows you, as I said, the faith and the conspiracy of faith. Is it all a conspiracy, or is it actually exist? Is God looking over us? Is someone actually of a higher power actually making things be what they actually are? And so there are moments in this film where if they weren't given that message in a bottle, then these two recently abducted children, would they have died? And so you don't know whether or not they are dead, but they're constantly asking themselves, would we be in a position to save these children if that bottle didn't wash up? Has the bottle washed up because it's a sign of faith, or is it just a coincidence? So you've got all those side elements that just mold these characters into a very three-dimensional shape and makes it absolutely fascinating. So the overall murder mystery side of this film, you actually get to know who the serial killer is pretty soon. And that's the case with a lot of Department Q stories, that you know who the killer is, but it's so much more than just knowing about who the killer is. It's, as I said, you've got that side element of faith. You've got the troubled history of Karl Morck and how he's going to contend with that, and how he's going to push that all aside in order to save the day. So you get glimpses of a detective who's a very good man, but he's just completely torn up by his demons. And so you're asking yourself, can he actually save the day? Can he not only save these children's lives, but can he save his own life? And so that is why I love this movie as much as I did. This is why I love the series, is because it just creates something that is so much more than what you get from an Americanized standard murder mystery detective story. So the acting was absolutely brilliant from Nicolas Licau, who plays Karl Morck. You've got Faraz who plays Assad. The chemistry is absolutely there, and you could believe that they really care about each other, and the teamwork is there. And I just thought to myself, okay, this is a crime fighting team that I really want to know more about. And so it does flesh out these characters somewhat. It doesn't give you all the details, but it gives you enough details to actually find out what makes these guys tick. And at the same time, you've got the murder mystery side of this film. As I said, the serial killer is known fairly quickly, but I thought the serial killer was absolutely fantastic. He's a brilliant villain, and this is a very, very dark film. It concerns children, and I just thought to myself, okay, well, this is a very dark Scandinavian crime noir that is going to appeal to a lot of people. There are some pretty shocking scenes of violence. There is a scene on the train that I thought was very, very haunting and suspenseful. There's a few action sequences that I thought were very well done, and basically an added bonus to throw into the mix, but it doesn't rely on that. As I said, it relies on the characters, and these characters in Department Q really do shine through, and it creates something that is very unique. I thought the ending of this film was actually quite hard-hitting. I don't believe this movie is as good as the previous movie, The Absent One, but it's still another welcome addition. It's a fantastic crime film. It's very, very dark. As I said, it's got the Nordic sort of feel to it, where you've got the vast landscapes that feel very empty, and that empty landscape actually symbolise the emptiness that these characters have. So it's not your typical sort of save the day and basically feel good about yourself. Basically, it's a movie about, as I said, very troubled people trying to come to terms with who they are as people themselves and trying to move on with their lives. So it's a very three-dimensional experience that I'm highly recommending to anyone out there, and as a result of that, I'm going to give this film 4 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you there.